It's good to see you all, but it gives me no great pleasure to have to be here today. Once again, a cold wind is blowing in Albany. As New Yorkers, we are used to living in what has become the emperor's state. By most metrics, the least free state in the nation. Highest taxes, highest regulations, highest restrictions on personal freedoms. Today, the eyes of the world are on Albany, New York. We come here to oppose the mandatory vaccination of healthcare workers in New York State. 500,000 of our fellow citizens are subject to a mandate as cold and brutal and statist as Rockefeller's Empire State Plaza and the tower of metal and concrete and glass that it came from. We come to send a message to Commissioner Daines and his master, Governor Patterson. Make your argument, but drop the mandate. George Washington said, government is not reason, it is not eloquence, it is force. Like fire, a troublesome servant and a fearful master. Never for a moment should it be left to irresponsible act. What Commissioner Daines could not do in 2008 with his, quote, worst vaccine bill ever legislation, he now wishes to do under the guise of emergency and executive order and force and fiat in the tradition of so many tyrants. Make your argument, but drop the mandate. Today, we the people, the true masters of our servant government, the true rulers of this great land, make our argument in opposition to this mandate and to the attempt to trample your inalienable rights. Today, Commissioner Daines touts a grand tradition of service in the name of the common good and the state above all. Society's needs come before individuals' needs. This collectivist, statist argument has been used time and time again in defense of violations of your God-given rights. But there is another tradition, another precedent, that of informed consent. All healthcare workers are familiar with it. Schlendorfer Society of New York Hospital in 1914 was a decision issued by the New York Court of Appeals, which established principles of informed consent. Mrs. Schlendorf sued the Society of New York Hospital to recover damages from an injury. In an oft-quoted opinion announcing the hospital's liability, Justice Cardozo of the New York Court of Appeals claimed the hospital's actions amounted to trespass. Quote, every human being of adult years and sound mind has the right to determine what shall be done with his own body. And a surgeon who performs an operation without his patient's consent commits an assault for which he is liable in damages. This decision helped create and define a body of law on informed consent, or, quote, a person's agreement to allow something to happen made with full knowledge of the risks involved and the alternatives. Today we present those alternatives and we present the risks. Indeed, these examples of assault and battery are trespasses for which the victim is entitled to compensation. Should not the same standards apply to all of us? The 14th Amendment to the Constitution provides for equal protection. Section 1 states, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without the due process of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction equal protections of the laws. I say to you today, enforced medical treatment is an assault and a violation of the 14th Amendment. It is an assault. It is an assault and a violation of the spirit and the intent of the charter of our country, the Declaration of Independence. Thomas Jefferson, who purportedly once said, "If the people let the government decide what foods they eat and what medicines they take, their bodies will soon be in as sorry a state as the souls of those who live under tyranny." He also wrote in the Declaration of Independence, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The corporate media propaganda machine and the governor's lawyers and minions will tout the law. They will tout public health and a fallacious call to duty to serve the state and the common good." To which we respond again with Thomas Jefferson's words, "Rightful liberty is unobstructed action according to our will within the limits drawn around us by equal rights of others." I do not add within the limits of the law, because law is often but the tyrant's will, and always so when it violates the rights of the individual. Daines and Patterson speak of duty, but again from the Declaration of Independence, when a long train of usurpations and abuses pursuing it invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government. The history of the King of Great Britain at that time and the history of the Patterson and Daines administration at this time is a history of repeated usurpations and injuries, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states and over your bodies. So to prove this today, we submit these facts to a candid world, just like they did in 1776. Today we have assembled speakers to present the facts. But first, I have to ask you, healthcare workers of New York and fellow Americans, are you with me? Are you with me?